Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Calling All Creatures. I am your host, Lori, and tonight I have an exciting podcast for you guys. I'm going to be talking with Cheryl King, who is actually the marketing director of Turpentine Creek Wildlife Refuge. I know when I did my announcements that I had said Tanya Smith was going to be on with me, but she's actually basically kind of out of the country right now doing something else that was very important, and Cheryl and I will be talking about that in just a bit. But anyway, so Cheryl is stepping in, and she's just as knowledgeable as Tanya, so I'm so glad that you could step in for her tonight, Cheryl, and be with me and talk about your refuge and what you guys do and your rescuing and all that kind of good stuff. It's going to be great to talk with you, so thank you for being on.
Thank you, Lori. I'm so thrilled to be here and to share information about everything we're doing. It's an exciting time right now.
Oh, yeah, it sounds like it. Just, because of our conversations, which obviously my listeners don't know about, but they'll find out in just a few minutes.
Good to have a teaser.
Exactly. So now you got to stay on here and listen, guys. So why don't you just start out and kind of tell us the story behind Turpentine Creek and how and why it was founded and started?
Sure. Our origination story actually goes all the way back to 1978. And Don Jackson, the father of Tanya Smith, our current president and co-founder, and he rescued a lion cub that he found chained to a cinder block on the side of the road. Now, this lion cub eventually got the name Bum, and it turned out that Bum was in dire need of help. Don had been a former employee at the Dallas Zoo and knew a little bit about big cats from having worked there, and asked for the opportunity. That this lion cub was struggling. He was in poor physical condition, and ultimately he wasn't getting the right diet, he wasn't getting the right quantity of food. So Don and his wife Hilda traded 5 motorcycles to keep Bum and began his rehabilitation. Well, it wasn't long after that they got a call about a lady who had thought it might be a good idea to raise a lion cub with her daughter. And lion cubs, if you've noticed, grow a lot faster than human babies. And it wasn't long before this mother was understandably concerned that she was placing her child in a very dangerous situation. And she knew about the Jacksons and their work with Bob, and she reached out about Sheila, this lioness. Now we'll fast forward for about 10 years. They've had Bum and Sheila, and they understand that this is actually a bigger problem in America than many people realize. And in 1991, a woman approached them and their daughter, Tanya Smith, our current president and co-founder. And she had 42 lions and tigers, Lori, in 3 cattle cars, cattle trailers. And this was near Hope, Arkansas. So the Jacksons and Tanya were already aware of this property here in Eureka Springs that was available, and they wanted a better situation for Bum and Sheila, and now here was this lady that needed help. So they threw everything in, quit their jobs, cashed in everything they had, and moved to Eureka Springs. And with an option they had a lease with an option to purchase this 459-acre facility, which the refuge sits on today. And in May of 1995, we became incorporated in early 1992 as a nonprofit and opened our doors to the public in May of 1995 to help raise the funds to care for the animals and educate about the problems that were faced by big cats in captivity. The Jacksons and Tanya ended up with 14 of those 42 lions and tigers in their care, And it was really through that experience that they came to understand the plight of these captive animals. They're property. They're not, if you own them, you own them. They have no rights, and they were living in deplorable conditions. If you can imagine, 42 lions and tigers crammed into 3 cattle cars.
Yep, exactly. Not a big space.
Not at all.
Yeah, no. That's crazy. I don't know what people think when they do some of these things sometimes, It's like, I know some people are good-hearted and they get started out trying to do the right thing and then end up, in a lot of trouble, but you got to wonder sometimes.
And we see that a lot. Absolutely.
Yep.
We do. There's good sides, bad sides, and they all may lead to a tragic ending.
Yep. Yeah, I did animal control for quite a few years, so I understand it. You do. You see good sides, bad sides, and yeah, so many times you kind of wonder how did they get to this point, but unfortunately, It does happen. So once the refuge and everything was going and started and opened up to the public, what has the refuge's primary mission kind of been?
Well, we started out as a rescue and lifetime sanctuary for big cats, and we've recently done a bit of a pivot. We rebranded ourselves this year, and our redefined mission is to rescue and provide lifetime sanctuary for captive wild animals. We had a focus for our first 32 years on lions, tigers, leopards, and cougars. And that is primarily what we care for today. We have seen some evolution, Lori, in the exploitation of smaller cats. And we realized, and working with our board, made the decision this year that we needed to broaden that scope to allow more focus as needed with other. Unfortunately, the exploitation of wild animals spans across multiple species, and our focus will remain on cats specifically, but we are not, we are here to be a sanctuary for any animal in need that we can provide for.
Good. Awesome. That's a good mission to have. And I know I was when I was looking at your website and stuff, I knew you guys did mainly the big cats and stuff, but I did see that you've been kind of branching out and helping some of the other species out, which we'll kind of talk about in just a second here. Now, you told us the facility is about, 459 acres, correct?
That's correct. Okay. Situated right in the midst of the Ozark Mountains.
Oh, beautiful.
Just beautiful. Yeah, just beautiful.
What kind of habitats do you guys provide for your animals that you're rescuing there? I mean, obviously we know lions, kind of come from Africa and the savannah and stuff like that, and Arkansas is a little bit different than that. So, how are you guys setting up habitats for these cats and other animals you're getting?
Absolutely, that's a great question, and it's a science. Each of our habitats is specifically designed for the specific need of the animal that will be making it its forever home. And so, for example, you mentioned the lions, and servals are another great example, and caracals. Mm-hmm. Each of these is currently in our care, and they all come from Africa, and so they are acclimated to warmer climates, the hot savannas, and they cannot tolerate the cold North American winters. So they require heated dens. Each of our servals and caracals has access to a heated building so that they can get out of the cold. Our tigers are water lovers among all of the felines, and I found this fascinating when I first began learning about them and working with them here. But they love water, and they will usually, even in the wild, you will find tigers, their territory will include an expanse of water. It's how they cool down, and it's also part of their hunting strategy. Tigers will be known to take prey down near water, and they will actually drown their prey. So that's tigers are water lovers, and so all of our tigers, in fact, all of our animals, have a water feature. It's very important to their mental and just a basic need that in their natural lives they would seek.
Right.
So every habitat is specifically designed. Lions and tigers don't have a lot of upper body strength. They require a larger habitat, but we can keep it open at the top. So we can do a 12-foot security fence with a kicked back guard at the top, and lions and tigers aren't going to get out of that. Whereas a leopard, a cougar, a serval, these are climbers and leapers, and you cannot confine them in an open area like that. So they must have a fully enclosed space. So they're going to require perhaps a longer, maybe a narrower, keeping in mind that they need that ability to run, especially cougars. Our cougars enjoy a 40-foot, I believe it's 40 feet long, and I forget how many feet wide, maybe 20. It's a very large habitat, but it is fully enclosed because cougars can get out. They can leap that high. So, and then there's our bears. So bears are diggers, they're climbers. So their fence and their enclosure needs to be electrified. We have 2 of the largest bear enclosures in North America.
Oh, wow.
Our bears forage right here on our sanctuary as they would naturally in the wild. They have persimmon trees and oak trees to get those lovely persimmons and the acorns. They build dens out in the middle of their expansive habitat. They climb trees. They live the life of bears, just in our care. So each habitat is very specifically designed to the animal that will be occupying it.
Yeah. So you might say the bears are getting the bare necessities.
Absolutely. Our bear Bam Bam, he's a big grizzly bear, has a really fabulous waterfall and pool. And he loves to entertain visitors by drowning his logs and various enrichment items in his pool.
Oh, that's funny. He's like, here, let me show you how I can do this.
He does bear yoga. You need to be there on his schedule, but he enjoys leading bear yoga classes.
Oh, that's funny. He does what, like downward facing bear?
He does. He does a beautiful downward-facing bear. You'll have to check out our website. There's some awesome images and YouTube videos.
Yeah, oh, that's great. I'm going to have to go check those ones out. I did see Bam Bam on your website. I just didn't check out all of the different stuff, so I'll have to go look at that. That's great. And I was gonna ask what kind of sets you guys apart from other like sanctuaries and stuff, but it kind of sounds like your habitats number one are something that really kind of set you guys apart. Are there other things that set you apart from other sanctuaries that do this kind of rescue?
Yes, and it's so important that people understand this because the word sanctuary is very loosely applied. There are places that claim to be sanctuaries, and we actually, as part of our educational program, we offer a sanctuary checklist. We work closely. I like to tell people, since I'm in marketing, I don't have competitors. I only have peers. The things that make a true sanctuary are we do not buy, sell, breed, or trade any animal. Our commitment to these animals is a lifetime commitment. When we bring them into our care, they're not ever going to need to worry where their next meal is coming from, their medication, their mental state. We are going to care for them, making sure that all the pillars of a quality of life are being met. And that's the hallmark of a sanctuary. We are GFAS, that's Global Federation of Animal Sanctuaries, certified. So, Lori, any place that is exhibiting animals to the public, at a bare minimum, they are required to hold a USDA license. Mm-hmm. And it truly is the bare minimum requirement of providing appropriate and safe care to a captive animal, whatever breed it may be. Mm-hmm. So the USDA does inspections and ensures that those basic minimums are being met. We are held to a much higher standard. Through that GFAS accreditation, everything from our enrichment care program the nutritional, how we manage all these various dietary needs, all of that is, held to a very strict standard. Safety while visiting our refuge, safety is a number one concern. Our interns and our staff, everything is with the animals in mind. Sadly, when tragedies with big cats happen, and you can find many stories online, it almost always leads back to human error. So we are so thorough in that training, and the animal safety and human safety always first, and caring and giving that animal the best quality of life. And those are really going to be the hallmarks of a sanctuary. If there's any kind of interaction with animals, you really have to question, because it's not best for the animals. They're not seeking us in the wild for companionship. It's not natural. So those are some of your red flags when you're entering a facility. If they're offering you photo shoots and opportunities to handle these wild animals, then you really should take a step back. That's not a true sanctuary.
Right.
And of course, zoos have a very different approach as well. So zoos are normally accredited through or associated with the AZA, the Association of Zoos and Aquariums, and their purpose is vastly different from ours. Ours is providing the animal a forever home that most closely mirrors what they may have in the wild to the best of our ability. Whereas a zoo is there, I want to be careful not to entertain, but certainly the animals are there to be on display. So they are going to be shifted out during the public hours so that you can see them. You may visit Turpentine Creek Wildlife Refuge at 2 o'clock on a hot August afternoon, and Laura, you may not see a lot of cats.
Right.
Cats, like any cat, your house cat, big cats, they sleep a lot.
Mm-hmm.
They may sleep 18 hours a day. And when it's really hot outside, they're not going to be very active. They've got those big fur coats on all year. So they're going to be looking for shade. They're going to be snoozing.
Right.
And we're okay with that because that's what they need, and that's what they would naturally do. So we are a little different from a zoo in that we're not going to guarantee that you're going to see every animal, but we do promise that you will have a great visit.
Yeah. That's good. That's good. That's one of the things I kind of like about the zoo we have here in Tucson. Because, obviously we have some really hot days here in Arizona. And they don't force the animals. I mean, they have the enclosures open or whatever, so if it's too hot and the animals want to be inside and out of the heat, that they're able to go in and not. So, you can go, and if it's in the middle of the day and it's 105 degrees outside, more than likely you're not going to see very many animals out. So,
right.
Yeah, so that's...
Well, that's good. That's great. And we are associated with the AZA. And also, I'm not sure if you're aware, but zoos participate in the Species Survival Program, the SSP.
Mm-hmm.
So different zoos will focus on different species. We know the national, the National Zoo in Washington, D.C. usually has the breeding pandas,
mm-hmm.
and in that program with China. So that is a vast difference also. There is no breeding, and our animals do not qualify for breeding programs. Many of them have been inbred. The genetics are not pure, and that's another key difference with zoos.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Interesting. That's good to know. Yeah, because I know, like, our zoo here, I know that the zoos, they'll do that kind of stuff, and they'll have different programs and stuff, and they'll switch out, or they'll get animal or something like that from one zoo, that may have...
Yes.
Yeah, so I know they do kind of do that program with those guys. I've heard about it. So, but it's interesting. I guess. Well, I mean, obviously we have to know that they're breeding, because how else would they have? I mean, they're not going out and capturing these animals. I would hope anyway. Right. Not nowadays, but
right.
Yeah. So.
And it does serve a very good purpose, especially, and most of the zoos are doing a very good thing. They're being careful with the genetics. Like I don't, cheetahs are right now very dependent on some of the zoo breeding programs to keep genetic diversity. We're losing those wildlife corridors in the wild that used to allow the animals to, allow nature to do what nature always intended, which was to keep a diverse, genetic pool.
Right. Yeah, with all of the building and human encroachment on habitats and stuff like that, it's narrowing a lot of that area down, I'm sure.
It really is, yeah.
So for your big catch rescues and stuff, where do most of these big cats actually come from? I mean, is it like a private ownership type of things? Like you mentioned, zoos, circuses? Where are you guys rescuing a lot of your animals from?
Well, all of the above.
All of the above. I've heard that about the chimps and stuff like that, too. So, yeah, same thing.
Yeah, so, really in the early days, in the beginning, it was mostly private ownership. Most people were, and it was a thing, you probably remember, it was a thing, a status symbol to have a lion cub or a tiger.
Yeah.
And these animals turn into 400, lion 450 pounds, tiger 650 pounds, and you're just a little bit of afraid of your pet.
Yeah.
So you can't go to the local humane shelter and ask them to take it.
Right.
And that's why places like us needed to become, we needed to establish ourselves to provide these people an opportunity, a place to send these animals to get the appropriate care. That really was how it started, but we have seen it change. We've all heard of Tiger King.
Oh, yes.
Go there.
That is so weird that you brought him up because, he lived in the small town where I more or less grew up and went to school.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, he lived in he was in St. John's, Michigan, and I know exactly where the house was that he had hit those lions and stuff like that at. Because they got out.
Oh, my goodness.
They got out one time, and they were trying to get a hold of him because, they were out. And I think it ended up he literally basically told the police to shoot him.
Oh, my goodness. That's tragic.
Yep.
Sadly, that's usually what happens, like Zanesfield, Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
All of those animals lost their lives, and that's really the tragedy behind it.
Yep.
And we did see, following Tiger King, a shift. Our rescues, our involvement in 2020 and 2021 was really the USDA engaged us for several large confiscations. The Wildlife and Need Facility in Charlestown, Indiana, Dackerville, Oklahoma, the Tiger King Park, Jeff and Lauren Lowe,
right,
where Joe Exotic's cats had ultimately, ended up.
Right.
So we did get involved. And then last year, we actually became a participating member of the Wildlife Confiscation Network. So we are a go-to resource for the government, the USDA, U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, in these situations. We have one of the first tiger cubs that was actually confiscated under the Big Cat Public Safety Act. He was bought private ownership in Conway, Arkansas, and U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service brought him to us. And that was in April of 2023, right after the bill passed. So we see more of that. We still continue to see private ownership, relinquishment. That's mostly now with small cats. Last year, at least 90% of our rescues were small cats. Servals, caracals. We brought caracals from a basement in Peoria, Illinois. Kind-hearted effort, trying to save this cat from a breeder. And then realized not the appropriate life. Couldn't give the cat what it needed. You can't put a caracal in your backyard.
Right.
And instincts, are going to kick in with these animals. You turn your back, and Emma, this is the caracal I'm referring to, if you would turn your back on her, she'd swat your leg. It's just their instinct.
Yeah.
So, we don't interact with her. We never enter her cage. But that's why the owner just could not continue to care for her. It just was becoming too much. And caracals are very food aggressive, so not a situation I'd want to be in.
No.
So we still see a pretty good mix of both. We do occasionally have a zoo that we will work with if there's an animal that maybe needs to retire, needs to get out of the public eye. We have rescued in those situations. Or if a zoo fails, we've had failed zoos where we have taken in the big cats that they may have. So, but not so much of that lately. It's been mostly lately the federal confiscation cases. We've brought, we call it witness protection. And I've got two great examples for you right now. So far this year, we've rescued 16 animals. 7 of them came from private ownership, and they are part of our witness protection. I can't talk about where they came from. I can't talk about who had them because their court case is still pending. Anything we say may affect that.
Right.
So our goal is to protect those animals.
Right.
And
don't want to do that.
Exactly. So we have 7 tigers that we brought in this year, and then we have another 8 animals that we brought in from California earlier this year also from a similar situation.
This is amazing that people have this many big cats like this. This is crazy.
I know.
I don't understand. And what is so funny, okay, so my uncle, who I just don't even know about, he literally had a wolf and a bobcat together at the same time.
Oh my goodness.
And they were his pets. Now the wolf, I understand, but the bobcat, I'm like, what is wrong with you? That's a bobcat. And my cousin wouldn't allow her children to go over to his house because, like you said, they're cats, number one, and they like to swat. And so the bobcat would sit up. He had like a cabin, and it had, the open rafters. And the cat would sit up above in the open rafter where the door was at, and you'd walk under it, and it'd swat and get your hair.
Wow, yes. We had a bobcat brought to us exactly in the situation you're talking about.
Yeah.
The people took it out of the wild. It's tragic, and Lori, I'll get those calls every spring, usually about fawns. It's not about, I have a fawn in my yard.
Oh, yeah.
But there are bobcats, like we have a bobcat right now, his name is Bob, and he was found in the wild. Now, Mama Bobcat was probably sitting and watching the whole time. You'll never see her.
Right, exactly.
And they do leave the kits during the day so that they can go forage and hunt. And people will find these kittens and take them out of the wild, and it's just tragic.
Yep.
Anyway, this couple had this bobcat, and it scarred their daughter for life. Got her on the shoulder. And these are dangerous. They can take a deer down.
Oh, yeah.
So
they're dangerous.
That's no problem.
Yep. That's why I was like, what's wrong with him? Why does he got these animals? I mean, but anyway, yeah. It's crazy.
Understand.
Yep. And it's funny because, you were talking about, the lady getting the lion cub and growing up with the baby, and I'm thinking, that wouldn't end up well. But they do the same thing. People did the same thing with chimps. They get the chimp babies because they used to see the chimp babies on the television shows and think, oh, how cute. And they don't realize that these chimps will grow into like 6 foot tall, 400 pound freaking animals that'll rip you apart at the drop of a hat if they feel like it.
Right, because when those hormones, and then that's what they see the baby, they see the tiger cub, and there's nothing more adorable.
Oh yeah, I'm
than
sure.
a tiger cub, playing with a ball. You just want to play with it. They're beautiful, but they do grow up, and they go through hormonal changes, and they become, their wild instincts cannot be suppressed.
Yep.
And all it takes is a trip and fall, and that's a trigger, and they're going to attack.
Yep. Yeah, so, people do not get wild animals. I'm just saying. So, talking about the rescues and stuff, this will be a perfect time. You guys actually have a couple rescues coming up that you're gearing up for. So, you want to talk a little bit about those?
Sure. That's the reason Tanya couldn't join you this evening. We have been working for the past year. It's a very lengthy process. You have to get permits and approvals to bring these animals across international borders, not to mention the complexities of the travel arrangements themselves. So right now, Tanya and Scott, President and Vice President, Tanya and Scott Smith, are in Little French Key, Honduras. We will be bringing back 3 lions. We are working towards the date. We have received the permit approvals to move forward, and right now we are in the process of getting the transport crates constructed. So it's not like you can go down to Chewy.com or PetSmart and pick up a tiger transport crate.
Why not? Why can't you do that?
I know. Go figure. Because you shouldn't be able to.
Get one of those fold-up metal crates. I mean...
Yeah, no, they need to be a little bit bigger and a little bit sturdier.
Yeah, just
so we're bringing 3 lions back from there, and they're down there right now, actually getting to see the cats for the first time that we will be rescuing.
Awesome.
And also inspecting those crates for their construction, and then this is going to be a very interesting rescue. We will be utilizing all 3 forms of transport: ship, land, air. It will be a very long journey for these cats, and so a very complex operation that we are navigating. At the same time, we're working to bring some lions over from Canada. Again, they're witness protection. I can't really talk about
That's fine.
Where they're coming from.
Right.
But we have 3 brothers, 3 male lions, and a female lion who gave birth during the rescue.
Oh.
So that sort of delayed our ability to move forward. We have to, number one, the cubs need to get a bit bigger before they can be moved. Mm-hmm. But it also means reapplying all those permits.
Right.
We have received approval for 4 lions, and now there are 6. So that delays things a little bit. So we're navigating that and getting ready for their arrival. And just like overnight, we're going to have 9 new lions. That's pretty crazy. That's a lot of lions.
It is.
And we are also taking in 2 tigers from a sanctuary which is closing. They're right outside of St. Louis. So we're getting ready really for 11 new animals to join our family.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, and those are pretty opposite, Canada and Honduras.
yeah, I mean, south and north. I mean, why not? That's just crazy that, 11, my gosh, it just kind of blows my mind to think that people have this many big cats and then, you have to take them in because where else would they go?
Exactly.
And I mean...
And the truth of the matter is, Lori, there are a limited number of sanctuaries that do this,
right,
and a limited amount of space. And we had just recently completed a major expansion in preparation for this. So we knew that with the passage of the Big Cat Public Safety Act, there was going to be a need for more space in facilities. And we did that in 2023 when we brought in Carol Baskin's cats from Big Cat Rescue. We built out 14.5 acres on our property to construct 44 new habitats. So we overbuilt. We were only bringing in 33 cats from Carol Baskin, and we did overbuild with the intention of having space available to care for the anticipated need.
Good. Well, I mean, it's always good to have more than less, right?
Fortunately, yes, but here we are. We're full. We have 110,
wow,
soon to be 121.
Wow. You've mentioned the Big Cat Public Safety Act a couple times, so I'm just going to kind of ask right now. Obviously, this is a huge thing to help kind of protect these cats and, get them to where they need to go to get them to safety. So I'm just going to kind of ask right now, how can our listeners out there support that act? In what way? I mean, is there, can they write to somebody supporting it? I mean,
yes.
How can we support that?
Yes, and that is so critical, because that is now where we are. We have the law passed, which was huge. Prior to the Big Cat Public Safety Act, it was a patchwork of laws. Every state had, some states just a permit, some states complete, no, you can't possess exotic animals. Other states, just a different patchwork. And the passage of the Big Cat Public Safety Act is huge. We can see a light at the end of the tunnel, at least for lions, tigers, leopards, and cougars. But now it's enforcement. So yes, anytime. So one of the biggest parts of that law is violating or prohibiting the interaction of people and big cats. And that's at any size big cat. It is illegal to handle a tiger cub, a lion cub. You're not allowed to. There needs to be a permanent barrier at all times between any big cat and the public. So if you're going somewhere, and it's still happening, you need to report it, and the best way to do that, you can contact the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. They have a phone tip line. You can find the phone number online. You can also go to their website at fws.gov and submit an online tip form. It's fws.gov/wildlife-crime-tips. You can also report to the USDA and contact your local and state authorities. You can also reach out, if you do a search on Facebook or Google, there are animal advocacy groups in many areas, depending on where you're located. If it's a big cat, for example, one of the things that we're very proud of having been a part of, in 2016, Turpentine Creek Wildlife Refuge was involved in the largest rescue in America's history. There were 115 animals living on 15 acres at a facility in Colorado. And at that time, there was this loose group of accredited sanctuaries doing this work with big cats. Well, Turpentine Creek Wildlife Refuge could not bring in all 115 of these animals. We couldn't do it. We didn't have space.
Right.
There's no way. It was impossible. So we worked with every accredited big cat sanctuary in America and found placement for every animal. We were so proud of that. And through that effort, we created and established what's called the Big Cat Sanctuary Alliance. You can always reach out to the BCSA to report suspected violations or concerns, and if you go to a facility, if you visit a facility and you see things that aren't right, try to document it. You can reach out to all of these different resources and get some help.
That's good to know, those resources. So, yeah, guys, so in case, if you do see something, listen back to this and you can get all those, the sites and stuff and where to report stuff if you didn't get it, or go back and listen and write it down just in case. You just never know. So, and it's always good to have that kind of information, especially if you work in an area or like if you're going to be visiting, maybe somewhere where they're going to have cats like this or something, So keep your eyes open.
We have to be their voice. They can't.
Yep, exactly.
So we have to be their voice and their eyes.
Yep, exactly. So when you guys take in the cats, what are some of the physical and emotional challenges that the cats may face when they first arrive? And what is your guys' process of rehabilitating a big cat that's come from one of these neglect or abusive situations?
Yeah, it runs the full gamut, both physically and emotionally. From everything from being overweight to underweight. There's this thought that if you keep a big cat overfed, he's never going to be aggressive. No, that's not the key to being underweight. There are a lot of genetic issues. Many of these cats have been purchased through, call it a kiddie mill, I guess, speed breeding of cubs, which was all generated through the cub petting business. After the cubs are done with the cub petting, what do you do with them? You sell them off. And most of them have been inbred, so they have a lot of genetic issues. One of the big things we see is metabolic bone disease. These cubs are pulled from mom at a very young age. They are then bottle fed, and they don't get the good nutrients that they need. Their bones become brittle. And we have some horror stories, x-rays that we can show. 3 of they're now adult cats. They were graduating from the cub petting business when we rescued them. They could not walk. Their hind legs were fractured. Their pelvises were fractured. Simply picking them up, their bones are so brittle they'll snap because they're not getting the necessary calcium that they would get from mom. So that's a big one. And every animal is going to need an individualized rehabilitation program. And then there is the emotional trauma. There are, and another one that's a little mind-blowing, but if you can imagine, many of these cats have never stepped on grass. We are giving them heaven. They are coming to a location where we don't have light pollution at night. We don't have smog. We have clean mountain air. And it's just an absolutely beautiful facility, but it is completely terrifying to them. Right. They have lived their lives in a 10 by 20 cage. And now all of a sudden they have access to this expansive habitat with grass and with trees, and we put benches. So benches are platforms that are built for them to get up and lay on, and they like to be elevated. They love those spaces, and we give them those. But to them, it's terrifying because they've never had that. So each animal has to be assessed on their arrival. Our animal curator spends time with each animal. Are they hiding in their den, right? They won't come out of fear. Are they charging the fence and screaming, trying to scare you, intimidate you? And they will. Let me tell you, you can hear a lion's roar up to 5 miles away. A tiger's pretty impressive, too. And when they're in their face screaming at you in rage, it'll make your blood freeze.
Right.
And our staff just has to, the key is consistency, calmness, consistency. They're going to get that meal at the same time every day. Rain, snow, shine, it doesn't matter. That intern's going to be there. The animal care staff's going to be there. They're going to get that fresh water 3 times a day. They're going to get their habitat cleaned every day. Their den area is going to be cleaned. They're going to receive that enrichment. And slowly, some cats respond quicker. Some take a very long time, but usually they will respond. We have a couple cats that just aren't very tolerant of humans. They just don't like people, and that's okay. Yeah. You don't need to.
Right.
We're going to take care of you, and mostly we're going to respect you and give you the space you need to heal.
Right. Yeah. You know, why would they like people? They're not supposed to like people anyway. They're wild animals that don't normally come in contact with people, so.
Exactly.
Something I did want to ask. Now, any of the animals that you rescue, are any of them ever able to, say, go back out into the wild at all, or are these animals that are going to most definitely have to stay with you the rest of their lives?
They most definitely have to stay with us the rest of their lives.
That's what I was
So
wondering.
there's, number one, tigers and lions, there is no place in America to release them.
Oh, well, yeah.
This is not their natural habitat. They have become acclimated to humans to an extent where they see us as a food source. No, maybe 2 ways.
Yeah, I was just going to say, yeah, well, they might.
They're not going to be reluctant to approach you.
That's true.
Seek food. They would be killed. It's as simple as that. It would also be horrendously irresponsible to put those bad genetics into the gene pool. We see white tigers are incredibly popular because they're beautiful, and the reality is not one of them should be in existence. There's only one white tiger that will occur naturally out of every 10,000 tigers in the wild. With a population of 4,000. You're not liable to find a white tiger naturally today. Now, there is a population of golden tabbies in India, but you can trace that directly back to an isolated gene pool that has begun inbreeding, and that is a trait that is coming out. So, and that is what it is with these white tigers. They've all been inbred. We can trace them back to Mohan, the white tiger that was brought over from India in the 60s. They bred him to his daughter, and they got a white tiger, and it was like, oh, wow, that's how we do it. So you can genetically link each of these tigers, and it would just be a tragedy to release those genes into the gene pool in the wild. You would see all sorts of problems cropping up with wild tigers.
Wow, yeah, I didn't think that you could, but I wasn't sure, just exactly, the extent of, what was, if anything you ever got was, able to go back. So it's good to know that they're not, and you're going to take care of them. So that's good.
Yeah.
So what can you kind of go over what a typical day kind of looks like for animal care staff at Turpentine?
Well, there is no typical day. We are dealing with 110 apex predators.
Right.
You're always going to have to allow for some adjustments there. But, yeah, so a typical day is going to begin with prepping very early, getting all of the animal medications prepped. So we will have, down in our commissary, each animal has what supplement they need, what medication they may be receiving, and that is prepped for them. Their main meal is prepared for them. Each animal has a specific diet that they are on. They may only be getting boneless, or this one may be getting some grade A meat here because they don't like chicken. This one may not like turkey. So we keep track of what the animals like. Yes, it's important because we need them to eat. But we are going to weigh all of the food. They are going to receive an exact amount of food, and anything that is not consumed is going to be removed and weighed. It's one way we know whether a big cat might be having some health issues is whether they're consuming their diet or not. They're going to be fed, they're going to be watered. While they're eating, they're going to be locked into their night house area, and then the interns are going to go into the large grassy habitat. They're going to clean out the whole area. They're going to clean out any, feces.
Right.
They're going to arrange that day's enrichment, what that animal might be getting. They might just be moving toys around to make things a little different for the cats to come out and explore. They may be leaving some boxes that have been sprayed with spices or perfume. That's a form of enrichment that big cats really enjoy. They get to explore those extra scents.
Oh, wow. I wouldn't think that.
Oh, yes. That's one thing, your listeners. We can take all those expired kitchen spices, any perfume you don't like. The big cats love them.
Oh, gosh. I'll have to remember that when my stuff gets expired.
Yeah. So we'll do that. We'll set up their enrichment. We tick spray. We have 459 acres that we have to keep free of ticks. That's not easy to do in the Ozark Mountain.
No. Believe me, I know how hard it is to keep ticks away.
Oh, it's terrible. And, of course, we have bobcat fever that is prevalent, so we have to be very careful. Big cats are tremendously susceptible to bobcat fever.
Oh, wow.
So it's one of our, those hidden lurking monsters that we're constantly defending against. So they're going to be cleaning that habitat. They're going to be weed eating. We've got a lot of yard maintenance to do.
I'll bet.
We don't allow anybody near the big cats. Only animal care and interns are allowed to work close to their habitats out of a safety precaution. So, yes, they're doing the yard maintenance as well. It's a lot of very hard work. They're going down to the animal hospital. They're building the enrichment. They're making the boxes. They're decorating them. It's a plethora of tasks. These guys are working our average intern, so this is another exciting part of what we do. We have interns, anywhere from 15 to 16, that come in, and they must have a degree in zoology, biology, and the animal-related field, and they will come live on property and care for the animals for a 6-month program. Our programs run February to August, so we just have a group starting now, and they will be with us until February, and they are responsible for all of the habitat care and the feeding and monitoring, and of course our senior animal care staff is always also monitoring and evaluating the cats and assessing their health.
Nice.
So it's a busy day. You have a lot, and plus we're doing this on the Ozark Mountains, so nothing is on level terrain.
Right. I was just going to say, that's good for the cats, though, especially the ones that like the cougars and stuff like that like to climb and do stuff. Yeah, they love that stuff. I know.
It's wonderful. We had a tiger we rescued a few years ago, and he was so obese. Again, this was one of those people that thought if you overfeed them, they'll stay content. People saw, his name was Tommy, and people saw him coming in. They why do you have a polar bear? No, he was just a severely obese white tiger. We put him in one of our steepest habitats, and we would roll his ball. Our intern, now, you have to look at a boomer ball. These boomer balls weigh 60 pounds. They're not small. They're not lightweight.
Right.
These tigers can carry them in their mouths. It's crazy.
Right.
Our interns had to roll his uphill every day so that he was forced to exercise. Yeah, we put him on a weight loss program. It worked.
He'd probably come out and look at you and look at those interns and go, really?
Really? You're going to make me do this?
Why do I have to climb the hill?
Yes.
Oh, that's tiger calisthenics.
Exactly.
Oh, that's great. Oh, you guys got to be pretty innovative to come up with different things for these animals to keep them, stimulated and stuff. I mean, because especially if you're talking, you think about a regular house cat and the stimulation that's needed for just a regular house cat to be happy. Think about something that's 450 pounds.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And relieving mental boredom is so critical. We give them world-class habitat space, but it's still a confined space. Yeah. We can't give them what they would have in the wild. A cougar has a range of 200 miles.
Right.
Nobody can give them that. So we have to make up for that by keeping their lives as engaging as possible. And enrichment is such a huge part of what we do. And we spend so much time on it. We keep track of what an animal likes. This one likes boomer balls. We have a lioness who prefers sticks. That's easy.
It's going to be a big stick. It's going to be a big stick.
So we know. She loves her sticks. Her name is Savannah, and she's just the happiest girl in the world if she has a stick to play with.
Oh my gosh, it's not really a stick. It's a limb of a tree. Let's be realistic.
That's true. That's true. I probably couldn't lift it.
I was just going to say, my dogs play with sticks.
Yeah, you're right.
Oh, that's great. I have to go on and take a look at some of the pictures of these guys and their playing and stuff in the videos because that's awesome. So, I mean, obviously these animals have different habitats. You're not, putting animals, cats in with each other and stuff for different cats and stuff. But obviously, like, when you have situations like some of these rescues you're doing where you're getting, say, the 3 together or the 4 together or whatever you guys may take in together. Now, do you end up keeping those animals get together since they already were? And then what happens if, say, they decide that they're not going to get along anymore and they decide to fight with each other?
And that does happen. It is very true that animals, especially big cats, the lions are a little different. Lions do live in a family unit. a pride. But just about every other big cat you can think of, jaguars, leopards, cougars, tigers, they're solitary animals. So normally in the wild, they're going to be living a solitary life. Now, we do find in captivity that siblings especially will bond, and they're kept together. If they come to us together and they get along, well, that's a form of enrichment that we can't beat, right? They are going to enjoy each other's company, and we want to keep them together as long as they enjoy each other's company. We have an odd couple right now, Ungawa, who is a lioness, and Glacier, a white tiger. Now, clearly, the irreputable place we brought them from was trying to create what is called a white tigon. That's a tiger daddy and a lion mom.
Okay.
Yeah, we have tigons, we have ligers, we have all of these hybrids.
I've seen the ligers, I didn't even realize they were trying to do tigons.
And they're absolutely beautiful animals, but they have no purpose existing. So, Ungawa and Glacier get along wonderfully. They enjoy each other's company, they groom each other. We had a similar situation with Lakota, Aurora, Joey, and Khaleesi. These were 4 tigers, one of them's a Tiger, that were living together at that 2016 rescue I told you about earlier. And all 4 were very happy living together until about 3 years ago. And then Aurora, the white tiger, and this is also pretty common, females especially, as they begin to age, they become less tolerant of that companionship. They enjoy it when they're younger, they play, as they grow older, one or another one begins to develop a bit of an attitude, and they can seriously hurt each other. We do not declaw. That is such a cruel thing to do.
Oh, yeah.
If they have their claws, we want them to keep them.
Yeah.
So the only thing we can do at that point is separate them, and we will. We are not going to allow them to harm one another. But then again, we've had tigers like 2 brothers, BB King and Mac, and they spent their entire life together and lived very happily together. If one was taken down to our vet hospital for an exam, the other one clearly missed him and showed clear signs of happiness when he returned. So, it is a little different when animals are raised in captivity. We will see what is normal in nature gets, reversed, and they may find enjoyment in that companionship. So to us, again, that's a bonus, and we want to allow them to enjoy that, but yeah, we're going to instantly separate. So we have a couple ways of separating too. Like right now, we are approaching capacity with our animal count, but if we absolutely had to, we could double on a dime. We have set up our habitats with what we call a dual night house arrangement. So our habitats are constructed so that every animal has a large grassy yard, and then they have what is called their night house area, which is separate. This is on a concrete pad. It's fully enclosed, top, bottom, sides, and it includes a large concrete for the large cats. The smaller cats have a slightly different setup, but the large cats have a large concrete, actually a septic tank, that was repurposed to be a den. And we will have 2 of these in each large grassy habitat, and each one can house a cat separately. Now, the cats can share the habitat and share the night house area. We'll keep them all open if everybody's getting along. If we need to separate, then we can keep one cat in the night house area while the other cat is able to enjoy the grassy yard, and then we can alternate. It's not ideal, but it is a solution if we need to increase capacity or separate animals.
So how do you get them to switch in those situations? Because you guys don't really interact with them too much. How do you get them to come? Is it like you switch them like at, say, maybe a feeding time or something like that? Or
feeding time is a key time, yes.
Okay.
That's usually how you're going to motivate a big cat. And we are, like I mentioned earlier, consistency is so key. You will see the animals, they know when it's mealtime.
Mm-hmm.
They're
Right.
looking for the truck. Oh, yep, there you are.
Yeah.
It's my breakfast.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
So they
Dogs and
know,
cats
and
do
they're
the same
gonna be
thing.
at that food bowl.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, why wouldn't they? Our domestic animals know when it's time to eat.
Exactly. My cat's rubbing against my legs the minute I walk in the door. Okay, dinner time.
Yep. Exactly.
So that is one way. Another way, and this is something that we do, behavioral management training. And our interns and our animal care staff are working with the big cats, those that are willing. We don't make any animal do it. We will assess each animal to see if they are willing and interested. We use treat, motivation, of course, and we use trigger commands. We use a whistle, we use a ball for them to follow, and we teach them certain behaviors through a reward system. So we teach them to display a paw against the fence. And when they do, they get a treat. Blow the whistle, give them a treat. We teach them to stand fully extended against the side of the fence. And the reason we do that, first of all, putting the paw allows us to examine for any issues with declawing. Do we have an ingrown claw maybe coming in? It allows us to do that visual exam. The standing fully extended also allows a visual exam of the abdomen, make sure there's nothing. Again, big cats are predators. They're apex predators. They're going to hide an illness or an injury.
Mm-hmm.
So if they're having difficulties standing, right, if that may be a key that there's a mobility issue, maybe some arthritis setting in, maybe they've injured a paw. So it's a way for us to assess their physical capabilities. We also teach them to extend fully against the side of the habitat with the goal to eventually hook the tail through the fence to draw blood or deliver inoculation without having to do, a much more difficult sedation and transport to the animal hospital for what could be a basic exam that we can do, a field exam.
Mm-hmm.
And then as part of that behavioral management training, we do teach the cats to go into their night house area. Multiple purposes is, number one, to shift them in when we need to go in and clean, shift them in if we need to do a medical examination, or shift them in the event of bad weather. We want to get them locked in and safe until any, weather threats pass over.
Mm-hmm.
Some cats are more willing than others. Some of them, it's just really a patience game, and again, we don't force them to do anything. But we do find that a good many of the cats do enjoy participating in that program, and they do learn their names, and they do form attachments to their caregivers. It's one of the things our interns talk about. It's the aha moment for them when they realize they've made a connection with these cats.
Yeah.
It's a magical moment.
Aw, that's great. I can understand it. After you work in a shelter, animal shelter, you do the same thing with the dogs and cats and stuff in there. You get attachments and stuff, so I can understand. Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah.
So how does Turpentine work to educate the public about the exotic pet trade, the plight of the captive big cats, and do you think, maybe due to your education and other education, that maybe the public awareness has improved regarding big cat ownership and exploitation? I mean, maybe not, because it sounds like you guys are taking in a lot of animals through this Safety Act. So, yeah.
Yeah, I would like to say that it has, but then I don't know. You still see it, and it seems like the need for another rescue is always there. We educate every tour. When you come visit us, you're going to get a guided tour. We have an open-air tram, and our wildlife interpreters, our education team, are going to conduct that tour. They're going to teach you facts about cats in general, declawing. Did you know that a tiger stripe are skin deep? like fingerprints, and if you shave them, they still have a stripe. And everyone is unique.
Actually, I did know that. I've read that somewhere before, that they do go down to the skin, and I knew they were unique.
Yes, yes.
It's like a giraffe's spots.
So you're ahead of the... You're going to learn interesting facts like that about them, and you're going to learn their individual stories, where they came from, how old they are, how long we've had them, what their likes and dislikes may be. Every tour is different. It will depend on the experience that individual has had with that cat. You may get personal anecdotes, but you will get an education not only about caring and about them as, their characteristics and traits and interesting facts, but then you'll also learn about things like the Big Cat Public Safety Act and the areas that we are still struggling, like with the small cats. The Big Cat Public Safety Act was a huge step. It really was. We can hope that the last tiger cub, the last lion cub, or leopard cub have been born. Now, I know it's not true, but we're so close to that. I can't say that about servals and caracals and, heaven forbid, bobcats. And this is the new flavor of the month. This is the new exotic animal that everybody needs to own. An African serval is going to spray in your home 17 times an hour. We had a couple from Chattanooga that surrendered a much-loved serval. They did everything they could to make this work. Loved her. And they couldn't. She was litter trained, but they had to lock her out of rooms. They're incredibly destructive. They're going to eat everything. We've had servals come in that had leash material in their feces because they will just consume anything they can tear up. So, yes, we see some improvement, but then in other areas, no. The exotic pet trade is as strong as it ever was, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's crazy. Like I said, I just don't understand. I mean, I know, I do understand, but I don't understand it, I guess. I understand, your little status quo thing or whatever, or you think they're cute or whatever, but, these people getting the chimps and the big cats or even the servals and stuff like that, or they get the caimans or the alligators and stuff like that, and or the big, the boas and the pythons, and then they don't understand these animals at all, and then they wonder why their cat disappears when the boa decides to eat it, and things like that, and like you guys experience with the cats and people not understanding how big they're going to get and what's going to happen, and right, it's crazy.
And when you've got and a caracal, so a caracal is a medium-sized cat. It's bigger than a bobcat. Well, if one of them starts hissing at you and swatting at you, that's very intimidating. Let me tell you.
Oh, yeah.
And I've seen some videos on the internet. Well, it's just, that's the current concern.
Yep. So, what do you think are some of the biggest challenges that the refuge is going to face moving forward? I mean, obviously, space is probably going to end up being one. I mean, even with all the space you guys have, from the sounds of it, with all these animals that need rescuing and help, you guys aren't going to have enough space eventually.
That's true. And that's unfortunate, because at that point we will have to turn animals in need away. It's just an unfortunate reality. There's only so much space that anybody can have. The other thing is finances, always finances. We are a nonprofit. We receive no federal or state funding at all. We do apply for and receive grants. But it's always, we're up to 110 animals now. We are so blessed that we have Tyson's, and give them a call out. They donate upwards of 300,000 pounds, repeat that number, 300,000 pounds of meat a year.
Yeah.
That helps us to feed the animals. So we are so grateful for that. Because you're feeding anywhere from 15 to 20 pounds per animal per day. and you can do the math. It adds up pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So really the big thing is really finances. Becoming a monthly donor, $5 a month, is if we had, 20 people sign up, that's huge. That's going to take care of one more meal, one more, the veterinary bills are massive. We have a state-of-the-art vet hospital as part of our sanctuary. It was built in 2017, Jackson Memorial Veterinary Hospital. We have full x-ray machines and scales and blood analysis, surgical equipment. We can sedate the animal and monitor and heart. Everything is there that we need. We don't have a big MRI. We have to go to Kansas State University when we need something like that. So, really the big thing for us, Lori, is the finances to keep the operation going.
Yeah, that's usually what most everybody, rescue, sanctuary, that's a big part of it, a good part of the time. One thing I did want to ask real quick too, since you guys do have animals together, I'm assuming everybody is fixed, spayed or neutered, right?
Oh, absolutely.
I was going to say, I would sincerely hope so.
Absolutely, yeah. Because we are, like I said, true sanctuary, no buying, selling, breeding.
Right, exactly, no ever. Breeding. Yep.
So all males, tigers, are neutered. Mm-hmm. Lions, you can't do that. You can do a vasectomy, but that's a lot more invasive and a lot trickier.
Right.
We prefer to put female lionesses on birth control. You cannot neuter a male lion. His mane will fall out, and he will completely lose identity as a male, and he will be rejected by females.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy. I didn't know that.
Yep. Very traumatic for a male lion. Bum, the first lion in the very beginning, had been neutered, and yes, he did not have a mane. It's pretty tragic.
Wow, that's crazy. I didn't know that happened when that happened. That's crazy. So, yeah, well, you know what? Female lion birth control is a good alternative.
It sure is.
And, that's what they want to do. The Wild Mustangs, the Cloud Foundation and them, they keep trying to push BLM to use birth control on the mares and stuff because, BLM keeps saying, oh my gosh, they're overpopulating and they're overgrazing. Yeah, okay, whatever. You're going to put cattle on that land. Let's quit lying. Right. But anyway.
I did hear about that, though. Yeah.
Yeah, they do it all the time. They go out here and they round up these Mustangs and with helicopters, and they're herding these horses doing that, number one. But yeah, and then they put them in all of these great big holding pens, and these horses are there for years because nobody can adopt them because who can afford a horse, especially nowadays?
Right.
So,
or have the space to put one.
Exactly. The horses and the burros both, the Wild Mustangs and the burros both are having that done, and there's hundreds of thousands of them probably in all of these great big holding pens all over, and they want to keep just rounding up more. Well, finally, I think we have some people that might be stepping up. Some senators and Congress people and stuff. They formed a coalition or whatever you want to call it, and they're coming together and they're trying to work to stop what's going on, some of the stuff that's going on with the Wild Mustangs. So we'll see how that goes and if they actually really do it. So,
well, I do hope. That's terrible.
Yeah, it is. I mean, they could definitely control the population. And the form of birth control that's sad that BLM wants to do is not a good form of birth control. And so the Cloud Foundation that, advocates for the Wild Mustangs, there is a form of birth control out there that's safe and easy. It's okay to use on these, and they keep advocating for that and trying to get BLM to use that. And BLM is so adamant that they want to use this other thing that's not good for them. So we'll see how that goes and if things get changed around now that we've got this other coalition started, and see if they can get some different things done now with BLM. But yeah, so I mean, it's awesome if you can do that kind of stuff and just use the birth control. And yeah, so no reason not to. So anyway, well, we have gone a little bit over our hour, which is okay, but we're getting here to the end of the podcast. So I wanted to ask you, before we get off for the evening, if there's one message that you'd really want people to take away after either visiting the refuge or hearing our podcast, what would it be?
Be a voice for the cats. Be aware. Don't go and give your money to a bad facility. Do some research before you visit. Don't fund them. And say no to that adorable serval, caracal, bobcat cub. Yes, you will love them, and they will break your heart because it's going to end tragically.
Mm-hmm.
So don't do it, and let's just learn to appreciate wild animals where they belong. But come visit us, learn about us, and I know you're going to walk away agreeing with that.
Yep, exactly. You want to throw your website information out there so people can go look you up if they want. And again, I will link your website on my Facebook page, so if people want to go to it from there, they can.
Yes. We are at www.tcwr.org or www.turpentinecreek.org. I think TCWR is a little easier.
Yeah.
And we are on Facebook, we are on YouTube, we are on all of the social media channels. We've got some wonderful videos. You can come follow the cats. We'd love to have you join the family, become part of the pride.
Awesome. And people can come and visit and do the tours and stuff like that, just not guaranteeing you might see a cat depending on what they're doing and if they're sleeping or if the weather's okay and stuff like that. But, yeah.
Yep, mornings are best. Cats are most active in the morning. We're open every day of the year except for Christmas Day. So absolutely come visit us, meet these majestic animals, learn their stories, see the good work we're doing. And Lori, thank you so much for your time this evening.
Well, I really appreciate you stepping in for Tanya and telling us all about Turpentine Creek, because I think you guys are doing great work in rescuing these cats and actually now the other animals as well, the bears and stuff like that. And I hope you guys are able to continue doing what you're doing. And I wish you luck with your upcoming rescues that you're doing. And hopefully all the cats make it safe and sound to the refuge there with you guys.
Thank you. Greatly appreciate that.
Alrighty. Well, Cheryl, I'm just going to announce my next couple upcoming podcasts. You're welcome to stay on if you want, but I know it's probably getting a little late for you, and so you can also jump off if you'd like. So, but I do appreciate you being on tonight.
Thank you, Lori.
All right. Thank you very much. Okay, guys. So the next upcoming podcast that I have is going to be... Cheryl just jumped off there. Let me see here. Let me see. We're looking at September 4th. I am supposed to have Rebecca Shaper on with me, talking about her book that she wrote. It's called Roses to Rainbow. It's about her dog Gus that she had and that he passed away, and how he helped her in his spirit form to heal and get through some things and become a healer, which is what she was destined, I guess, to kind of do. I'm not sure if Rebecca's actually going to be able to join me or not on the 4th. I'm hoping so, but she is having a really happy family occasion happening. Her daughter is having a baby, so she may or may not be able to be on the podcast, so I'm kind of waiting to find out. Hopefully she can, but if not, I'll try to find someone else to fill in. If not, we might have to cancel for that night. So just letting you guys know ahead of time. That's what we're looking at. And then on September 18th, I am going to have Sarah Killingsworth on with me. She's with Project Coyote, and she is going to be coming on the podcast to talk about coyotes, give us some more information on them, and about, the urban coyote, which a lot of coyotes have now become because, we encroach on habitats and things like that, and how people live with them and deal with them and things along that line, and how we can actually live with them and how important they actually are to our ecosystem, even though some people refer to them as vermin, as they do with many animals that they don't care for and they think are overpopulating things. But anyway, Sarah will be on September 18th to talk about coyotes and Project Coyote. So that one will be Under the Desert Moon. So be looking out for that title. And then again, like I said, hopefully on the 4th, I'll be able to have Rebecca on to talk about her book, Roses to Rainbow. And I think that is about it for tonight. I really appreciate you guys staying on with me and Crystal just a little bit, not Crystal, Cheryl. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, Cheryl. I appreciate you guys staying on a little bit later with me and Cheryl to talk about Turpentine and all the big cats and all the wonderful things they're doing and hear a little bit more about their upcoming rescue. I thought that was pretty cool that they're getting ready to do that. So anyway, guys, come on back in a couple weeks, and hopefully you'll be coming back in a couple weeks for the next podcast. And if not, then I guess it'll be a couple more weeks after that. It might end up being a month. I guess we'll wait and see. And if Rebecca can't join me, that's okay. And congratulations to her on her new grandbaby. So I know that's always so much fun to have the grandbabies. Anyway, all right, guys, thank you for staying on late. I appreciate it. I hope you all have a great weekend. Stay safe out there. Don't get into any trouble. And come on back in a couple weeks. Listen to the next podcast. All right, good night.